Holy moly, the biggest real estate crash is happening in China. Well, let me rewind back. The biggest real estate developer bubble is bursting in China, which can have a domino effect on the Chinese real estate market, but more importantly in America. Okay, not only in the America stock market, but also the real estate. Okay, let me talk about both of these things, the stock market and the real estate. Okay, now if you guys don't know, one of the biggest developers in China is defaulting. Okay, and you know, because in the real estate game, doesn't matter if you're a landlord, you're a medium guy, you're a large guy, the name of the game that they pitch everyone is debt. And that's why I don't buy into borrowing money from the banks, because I've seen the biggest companies go belly up because of debt. So what has happened is this real estate developer has borrowed so much money and their cash flow has dried up. So again, they borrowed so much money and their cash flow has dried up. So they have more debt to pay than cash flow. And I've seen this back in 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, when I was working in real estate, buying houses from motivated sellers. I saw a lot of rich people, doctors, attorneys, business owners. For example, I talked to a seller. We did a short sale on his penthouse, and this guy had, you know, like a $32 million penthouse or something like that, right? And he was going bankrupt, and I asked him what happened. He said, hey, I sold my business, you know, I made like 100 million or something like that. I can't remember all the details, you know, it was like 10 years ago, 12 years ago. But the sum of the story is he sold his business for a large sum of money, like over 100 million. And then he got into debt and bought this penthouse for like 32 million, whatever. And now he was behind, and we did a short sale on this house in the last crash. So I realized that it doesn't matter if you're a doctor, entrepreneur, that debt will suck you up. Eventually it will suck you up. And this is exactly what's happening in China. But the side effect is that in the stock markets in America, there are a lot of big companies, from the biggest banks to biggest hedge funds. Some of the people we already know, like the Radio and so on, they have a lot of money in this company that's going belly up in China. So I believe that that's going to have a trickle-down effect in the stock market, and we're seeing it today when there's a sell-off of 600 points happening because of the defaults that's happening in China real estate developer. Why? Because there's over like 100 American companies that have millions of dollars invested in them. Okay, so that, I believe, has already affected the stock market. We saw today of, you know, 600, when the market opened up, we saw a 600 point negative. Okay, well, what do you think that is? The other thing I want to talk about is the real estate, America's real estate. You know, we saw that in China, the bug 19 happened, and then it came across to America. And the same thing is happening in the real estate crash. We're seeing the crash happen in China, the bubble bust in China, but it's going to trickle down just like it did with the bug 19, right? It's going to trickle down into America, in the America real estate, because America's companies are even more leveraged out than these Chinese companies. The whole American society is a debt-based economy. So you're talking about hedge funds, you're talking about builders, you're talking about real estate developers, you're talking about homeowners, you're talking about all these companies, right? Landlords, they're all over leveraged, right? And now that the asset bubble is about to bust, we're going to see massive price corrections, a massive crash in real estate in America. I mean, you just can't hide it. You have millions of people on food stamps. That's like a country. You have millions of people in forbearance programs. That's like another small country. You have millions of people on unemployment. That's like another small country. So if you add all that stuff, you have a lot of small countries that are based in America, in a sense, because of the population, that are in desperate trouble. So we are going to see China is a step ahead. If you look at their cryptocurrency, they're a step ahead, right? Because in China, you can't take a taxi without having internet money, right? Same thing with the bug. We saw it happen in China, then it came down here. Same thing we saw with the businesses closing down in China. Then he came down here. Now we're seeing the market pop in the real estate market pop in China, or very, very soon. And now we're also going to be seeing it in over here in America. So China's ahead of us. So they're getting the impact first. It's kind of like me throwing a rock in the ocean, and there's a ripple effect. Well, it takes a minute the further you are to get that ripple, but you're going to have the effects happening anyways. So that's what's going to be happening in America, and I don't want that. But when you have so much leveraged homeowners, when you have all these, FHA and Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae changing their lending policies, which I brought to you on my YouTube channel for like a couple of years now, to allow more and more people to be able to qualify for that debt to income ratio so they can qualify for a loan. Well, you have all these people that are buying these assets at the top of the market. They're already broke, they're already leveraged out, and you have hedge funds all leveraged out. You have all these people all leveraged out. And what do you think's going to happen, dude? What do you think's going to happen? You see in China, people are rioting, people are holding hostages the executives of these companies because they're going to lose a lot of money. One thing I want to help you think about is that when we hear China, we're propaganda. We're trained to think that that's a communist country, right? But it looks like the Chinese government may not bail out the biggest real estate developer in China. But think about that. The communist country is not going to, maybe big probability, they're not going to bail out their corporation. We're here in America, we pride ourselves that we have free enterprise, we have, free markets, and we see that the Fed and Big Brother is bailing out all kinds of companies. We bailed out so many banks the last crash, 2006, 2007, 2008. This time they're bailing out so many other companies. So it's just ironic that we live in a free market, and our free market supposedly is free, but we're bailing out people, and the Communist Party of China, and they're supposed to be a communist, right, to control everything, they're not bailing out their corporations, which is the right way to do it, right? I think that if you're a business and you get into so much debt and you're just worried about growth, then you have to pay the reaper, and Big Brother should not step in, right? But in America, even though we have a free society, we have free enterprise, supposedly capitalism, we are having Big Brother, we're having the central bankers step in all the time and bail out Ford, bail out GMC, bail out American Airlines, bail out every company you can imagine, the bankers, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Schwab, you name it. They're just bailing out all these people. And it's ironic that we live in a free enterprise with free capitalism, supposedly, and our Big Brother and our banking system are bailing out corporations, where in a communist country, they're going to let them crash. So let that sink in, dude, to really realize that when our people tell us we have a free market, is it really free? Because these guys in the red, right, the boogeyman that everyone says they are, which I don't think so. I think they're just like me and you, right? Their government is not bailing out big corporation, even if they are too big to fail, right? Because if you want to have a fair system, you got to allow the people that make mistakes to pay the reaper, right? If I invest in Bitcoin and it goes down, I lose money. I don't get a bailout. If you invest in stocks, it goes down, you don't get a bailout. But if Bobby or Jose or whatever X corporation makes mistakes, like Bank of America, like Wells Fargo, like GNC, then you know what? They're going to get a bailout. No problem. Big Brother's going to step in. And I think that's pretty goofy, dude, because, I think fair is fair. If it's fair that me and you can go bankrupt, then it needs to be fair that the big guys can go bankrupt. And the problem is that we live in a world of capitalism, and me and you, our votes don't matter, right? Me and you are just workhorses. Who runs America is corporations. They're the ones that buy the lobbyists. They're the ones that make the laws. I mean, corporations run America. I mean, just look at the Fed. The Fed is buying stocks, right? Like the executives of the Fed, like the chairman and stuff like that. They're buying stocks that they know that the Fed's going to buy themselves. So, I mean, doesn't that seem like there's an interest for them? Like Powell, right? I mean, he's the chairman of the Fed, and he's buying stocks that the Fed is buying. Oh man, wouldn't that be a great insider tip, that you knew that if you buy this, that the bank's going to buy the stocks and the price is going to go up. I mean, and that's why I believe that we live in a shanzy, foamy capitalism, that we live in a fake enterprise, we live in a fake free market, because it really is not a free market. The markets don't dictate the interest rate. The Fed decides what banks win. They decide what corporations win. They decide how to separate the middle class from the poor. And with all the money printing going on and all the debt, it just has caused the American average worker just to suffer, just to have the mom work, the dad work, then have to put it on credit cards. And it's a really shame to see the way we're going. For example, back in 1986, 85, when my parents came to here in America, man, it was a great time to live in America. Like, my parents came here, they didn't speak the language. My dad doesn't even have a high school education. My mom is illiterate. They came here, they worked their butt off. They paid off their home. They started a business. They have nice cars. But today, I don't believe that, you come here as a refugee and have the same opportunity. And I don't even think you have the same opportunity if you were even a middle-class American, because with all the taxation, with all the asset inflation from cars, from real estate, from the stock market, it's really, 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 really hard to, do as good as back in the 1986 or something, the 1990s, guys, okay? And so the more they manipulate, the more they harm the average person. And, I hope you're buckled up, because we're about to get in a rough ride of massive corrections in America. I don't care if you're talking about the stock market. I don't care if you're talking about the real estate. Hard time is coming, guys, and a lot of us in America haven't experienced hard time since the 1980s, and most of our grandparents are dead, and we don't know what hard times are, right? We know how to borrow money, we know how to put it on a credit card, we know how to sign for something and get something, but we don't know how to be creative. We don't know how to work hard. We don't know how to save to buy a car. We know how to sign it and make payments, right? Buy now, pay later idea, right? Versus create something, save something, and then buy something. Those ideas of how you normally should grow and create wealth has been abolished through debt. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you don't mind, click the like button. Thank you so much. Don't take no for an answer. Love to hear your comments below. Peace.